All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Now, last time we learned how to pick up this rock, and the rock has a title on it. But what if, like, because this is a survival game. Usually in survival games, they have like weight, and you can't have too many of one thing. So we need to add some weight. So here's what we're about to do. Let's do that this episode before we move on, because we need to pick up at least 3 rocks, but the rocks need to have like properties and stuff. So let's get started here. First thing we need to do is in your assets, the pickups folder where the rock and all that stuff is, let's right click and then go down to blueprints and go down to structure. And we're going to call this one item struck underscore S. Item struck underscore S. Now, a structure, all this is a list of variables that each item is going to have. So one thing we're going to note that they all have is a name. And this is not, this is going to be like a text. Okay. Another thing that they need, let's add another variable here. Let's add the weight. W-E-I-G-H-T. And this is going to be an integer. And then let's add another variable here, which this could be like the description. Okay. And that's actually going to be a text. All right, cool. So let's add one more. Add variable. And this will be the actual actor. And we're going to do an actor. But instead of an object reference like normal, we're going to do a class reference. And then save. And there's your struct. It's set up correctly. Now the next thing we need to do, in the same folder, right click and go to miscellaneous. And we're going to click on data table. When you do, it's going to say pick row structure. It's just asking which struct do you want to use. And we're going to just use the item struct that we just created. And press OK. Now for the data table, we'll call this item data underscore DT for data table. Click into it and you're going to see that it's blank. Now, here's what we're going to do. And you can do it any way you want to, but here's how I do mine. So I press add to get a new row. Now for the new row, I specifically name mine whatever the item is named. Now, to know what the item is named, you have to go to the item. So this is the item, the rock. And on the left-hand side, if I hover over the rock BP self, it tells me the class, rocks underscore BP underscore C. That's what I'm going to name it. So rocks underscore BP underscore C, capital C. So once it's named that, I know that it's always going to be linked up to this. It'll always be linked up. So that's why I named it that. Now we need to go through and give it some variables. So for the name, we're going to call it rock. For the weight, let's put it at like 5. For the description, let's put it at a regular old rock. Okay. And for the actor, find the rocks actor. There it goes. Perfect. Save. Now that we've got that data table set up, let's attach it to the rock, and so that the rock can speak to the player. But before that, let's go to the player. So go to your blueprints, go to third person character, and what we need to do is add weight and maximum weight. So what we'll do is add current weight as a variable. Current weight. And this should be an integer. And then one more, which is going to be called max weight. And they're both integers. Compile and save. Now for the max weight, we're going to say that he can carry, like, let's say 25 pounds right now. And you know, it's not pounds. I just said pounds. It's 25. It's just a number. Just make it make sense. 25 pounds. Okay. Cool. So now what we need to do is set up some kind of function over here that checks the weight. So let's do a custom event, and we'll call it check weight, WEIGHT, check weight. Okay, and all you need to do is get the current weight and see, is it greater than or equal to the max weight. And if it is, put a branch and hook that branch right on up. Then we need to do something. We need to set the speed is mad slow. So let's get character movement, set max walk speed to so come over here to your variables and let's make another one. Let's make we can actually duplicate sprint speed. So duplicate that, and we're going to call this slow speed, and compile so we can set the value for that. And the value we'll set for that is going to be 150. So he'll be moving just barely. So if the current weight is greater than the max weight, greater than or equal to, then he's going to be moving mad slow. Cool. Now, that's called the check weight. So next thing we need to do is go back into your rocks and let's make it so that before it destroys the actor, it responds to that data table information. So it adds the weight to the player. So all we need to do is pull off of here the last part of this, which is set rocks. And we're going to say get data table row. Get data table row. And it's going to ask us which data table. And we just made the one. And which row. So we picked the rocks. Now, if it does find that row, then we need to go into the next part of the code, which is not going to be destroying the actor. Is first we got to break this. So this out row, come out here and say break. And then you'll get something like this where you'll have all the variables. Now what we can do is drag off of the third person character back here and say get current weight. And then you get this weight and you plus, you add this weight to the current weight. And now you get to set the weight. Set current weight bow to this number here. And lastly, before you destroy the actor, we need to do that weight check. Check weight. So straight from the third person character, we can check weight. And hook that up there. Then destroy the actor. And let's delete this one. The way I'm about to delete it is hold Alt and click on the line. Bow. So row found should be hooked up right here to set current weight. Now, this will allow us to, we took the weight of the rock, right, which is 5, and we added it to current weight. So let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and alter our HUD that we made earlier. And let's put another value up here. So you can actually just copy and paste. So duplicate the rocks where it says rocks, and we'll move it down one. And we're going to say weight. Call it weight. WEIGHT. Yeah, I have to do that every single time I spell that word. That's fine. It is what it is. I know numbers though. I know the numbers, bro. Text right beside that, and this text is going to be a little bit different. For this weight text, we're not just going to put the current weight. We're going to put the current weight out of the max weight. So where it says text block, come over here and bind, create a new binding. We're going to go to cast a third person character. For the object, we're going to get player character. The reason why I call it the wild card, because if you hover over it, it'll say wild card before you plug it in. Anyways, get the player character. Now we need to get the current weight. And right here, we're going to drag off the pink and say format text. Format text. Now, we need to use a curly bracket and say current weight and close the curly bracket, and then put a slash, and then do another curly bracket and put max weight and close the curly bracket. And that should give us what we need. 2 pins right there, current weight, max weight. So drag off the third person character and get the max weight. Hook that into max weight. Hook current weight into current weight. And you should be good. So when we pick up a rock, it should add not just a rock, but it should add weight as well. And our weight should get a lot. So let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Let's see if it works. Press play. All right, so walking up to these rocks, rock. Okay, let's pick it up. Oh, it added 5 weight to me. 10 weight. 15 weight. 25, 20 weight. 25 weight. Oh, I am too heavy. Too heavy. Oh, I'm too heavy. You can't sprint. So let's we'll fix that now too. So when you get too heavy, we can't sprint. So let's go to the third person character, because this is where I'm gonna end it at on this one. It's getting a little bit long. Third person character. We've got everything set up here. So check weight. Let's go ahead and caption this. See, check weight. I can even put a space there. Show the bubble. I did it in my head. If you guys don't know, I still spelled it as like W-E-I-G-H-T in my head. And then we're going to compile and save. But we need to, on the sprint, we need to somehow give them an overweight. So in the variables here, we're going to put a new variable. We're going to overweight, W-E, and it's going to be a Boolean, overweight. Okay. And so if overweight is true, then he's not going to be able to sprint. Okay. So let's go ahead and put a branch here, right on the sprint, unstarted. And if overweight is true, do nothing. But if it's false, do the sprint speed. So now let's test that out there. And that should be the fix that we need. So let's pick up this rock. Rock. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't set overweight. So here, before, of course we didn't, right? Go back into your third person character and back to where it says check weight. If this is true, then we need to set overweight. Set overweight as true. If it's false, then we need to set overweight as false. And you'll see why we have to do it in a minute, because if they drop a rock and we do a weight check, then it needs to hit this and it needs to set it back to false. So that he can run again. So now let's see if we pick up all the rocks here. Bop. 3, 4, 5. Now he's overweight and he can't even run, y'all. So this is perfect. This is exactly what we need. This is what happens in these kind of games. You have a certain amount of weight, and once you pick up all that weight, you can't do anything more with it. So what I'll do probably is going to tweak, like the rock is not about to be 5 pounds, but I'll tweak that weight and I'll tweak the maximum weight. But in the next episode, we're going to learn how to drop the item and craft the item. So we need a menu. We need a menu from it. Oh, there's a bug real quick. Before we move on real quick, let's fix that bug. Bop, bop. So I believe it's in sprint speed. So on completed, here, how about this? Copy and paste. So on completed, if overweight is true, do nothing. If overweight is false, do that. That way, it doesn't matter what we do now. This man will not be able to get out of that overweight animation. Yeah, perfect. Even if you sprint and let go of sprint, if you crouch and get up and from crouching, you're still overweight. If you crouch walk, if you crouch walk, you're not. Here, let's do that. Crouch. Branch, if it's falling, blah, 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 don't do nothing. But get the character movement here and say set crouch speed. Hold on, there's like a crouch speed, I believe. Max walk speed crouched. That's what we got to work with. So off this character movement, get max walk speed crouch and set max walk speed crouch, right? Because right before he does crouch, we're going to check and see if overweight is true. So if it's false, so if falling is false, cool. Then check and see if overweight is true. If overweight is true, then we need to set the, when you crouch, we need to set the max walk speed crouched, which I don't think I picked that one. Whoops. Max walk speed crouched. Set that to like, what? 150 as well. Fuck it. Bet. But if false, we still want him to crouch, but we want to set the max walk speed back to the regular, what was it, 300, I believe? 300, wow. And you can still go back here to crouch. So either way, he's still going to crouch, but we needed to control the speed. So if overweight is true, we're going to set the max crouch speed at 150. And if it's false, we'll keep it at 300. So compile and save. So now, last things last is now when we are overweight, of course, we're not going to be able to move good. So let's go ahead and get overweight here. And 25. Now I'm overweight, 30. Now I'm overweight. Can't sprint. When I crouch and I crouch walk, I'm walking mad slow. This is perfect. This is perfect. This is exactly what we need. So this is what I wanted to do in this episode. You could tweak the values of the weights to your liking, but in the next episode, we're going to learn how to drop and we're going to learn how to craft so we can get a weapon. Thanks. Holla at y'all next time. Peace.
Run to the money, on the feet, don't fail. The DA and the judge, wanna do their best to jail. I done turned it all.